Start with the team news. I guess in Capia, you said there might be an update in Huscan yesterday, and then where we're at with Calafiori, any bumps and bruises that you talked about on the weekend. We can go through bit by bit. Should we start with those?
Yeah, those two are not available yet, and the other doubts that we have are Willie and Leo.
Okay, so in Capia first, you had a scan yesterday. Do you know a bit more about the problem or how long?
We don't know yet.
Don't know yet. And Calafiori, how many more?
He's progressing, but we don't know. I think it will matter for a few weeks probably, but we don't know exactly when.
Okay, and Saliba and Trossard, obviously not part of your FA Cup squad. So what's the issue with them? When might they be?
Yeah, those two are a doubt.
A doubt because?
Because they're not fit enough.
Because? Just bumps and bruises, anything serious?
No.
I forgot how much fun this was.
Yes.
And Max Stallman as well, for his behalf. Where is he?
Very similar to Mosquera as well. You see, I'm giving you Mosquera.
Yes, oh, thank you. Wow, it's worth coming.
So very similar injury, very similar time frames, and both have all been really well, but they're not training yet, so they're still a few weeks away.
Okay. There was a lot of narratives around your game on the weekends, and one of the interesting ones that maybe did get lost a little bit was the return of Kai.
Yeah.
A word on him, because he's not started for almost a year, but you wouldn't know it to look at him. How impressed were you with his timing, his touch, and also the chemistry that he just seems to have with the players around him? He's going to be pretty key for you, isn't he, over the next few months?
Yes, obviously we missed him a lot. A year is a long time in football, but as you said, the way he's come back, he looks really fit, really confident. He's such an intelligent player that straight away he's someone that connects with the players really naturally, and you can tell how much they love him as well, because every time he was in and around the box, everyone was jumping on the seats, on the bench. So yeah, we are so happy to have him. He's going to help us so much, and now we have to keep him fit.
Is he okay? He came through 20 minutes. Is he ready to start? Not quite ready? How do you play the next few weeks?
We have to manage his minutes now, but he had a good block of 20-25 minutes the other day. He trained really well today again, and yeah, it's now a case of building his robustness and make sure that he's available for every game. I
spoke to Liam yesterday and was reminded that you two met in an FA Cup final. Yeah, do you remember him that day?
I've seen a few pictures of that, so yeah, that's the beauty of football, you know, and two very different careers, but at the end facing each other tomorrow at Stamford Bridge in a semi-final.
Has your paths crossed since? Do you know him well? You haven't sort of, you know...
No, I know people that has worked with him. I know people that they've been close to him in his journey, especially as a coach, and they talk really highly of him. So, yeah, wish him all the best, apart from tomorrow, obviously.
I also spoke to him because there was a lot of sort of noise and narrative around the fact that he'd been given such a big job without having that experience, if you like. I mean, clearly he's managed in France, but not having that experience of... playing in the top flight and managing in the top flight. When you got that opportunity, can you remember back those sort of 6 years ago? You know what he's like. There's that sense that he wants to prove people wrong. That's part of his motivation. And I wondered what yours was. And in terms of him looking at you, he said, and he would love to think that he'd be there in 6 years and have done what you've done.
Well, personally, my motivation was to help the club and transform the football club. That was it, not to prove people wrong. That's in my case, it wasn't a motivation. Obviously, they know him really well because they have worked together with him for a few years now. So they made that decision based, for sure, because of his capacity and because they believe that he deserves and is the best person to lead that project.
And just finally for me, semi-final at this stage of the competition last year, and I think by your own admission didn't do yourselves justice in that game against Newcastle. Is that the itch that just needs to be scratched? Is that the thing that's kind of going to push this side or help push this side tomorrow evening?
Yes, football gives you another chance. We've been really consistent again in the competition, and now we have to knock another big team out of the competition to be in the final, and that's the mission. Hopefully we learn from last year because it was painful, especially the manner that the games went and the amount of chances that we missed not to go through. But hopefully this year we are better and especially more efficient.
Thank you.
Alex Bibsy.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Just on the semi-final again, do you think getting to a semi-final at this stage of the season with the potential of reaching a final can help with the tension when you're trying to get over the line in our competitions?
Well, the more you are involved in these kind of games, the better, because it gives you a nudge, it brings the team a different kind of energy, and it gives you the sense that the objective is very, very close, and that's a massive motivation for everybody. So we know that we are 2 games away from playing a final. We have to go game by game, and the first one is Stamford Bridge, and we know we have a really tough opponent in front.
And on Noni Madueke, against Portsmouth, a mixed day for him. Potentially lost the ball for their opening goal, missed the penalty, but also 2 good corners for assists. Is that just part of the journey?
Yes, well, he was very influential, as you said, in some aspect, very, very positive. In some others, things that we need to improve in terms of the consistency, but the level of threat that he provides to the team, I think, is remarkable.
Take it all in?
I went to sleep.
Did you straight away?
Yeah, it's the best sleep I've had in about a week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's been a great week, a week I'll never forget. Yeah, good win, a good way to start. And now we have a really, really big game in a couple of days that I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how we'll do.
Yeah. When's the last time you went to Stamford Bridge?
I did a game. It was a charity game, a charity event. I actually played. I wasn't very good. I've also played with Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. It was about 5 years ago. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank was playing. It was a really, really good mix of people. We had a really good time. It was for charity. It's a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit different on Wednesday night.
Ready for, I guess this is a few days in, not even a week in, it's probably one of the biggest games of your managerial career, isn't it? Semi-final Arsenal, chance of silverware, Wembley final?
I think people will look at it that way. People will look at it that way. I don't see it that way. I think every session that I take, every meeting that I take, every game that we play is the most important thing. I live in the now, so it is the most important game, because it's the next one. And I mean that if you start to prioritise games or think something's more important than the other, then you're not focused. I don't care if it's a pre-season game, I'm doing it at my maximum. And I expect that from whichever group I work with. So for me, that keeps me calm, because I'm happy with the process in which we work as a staff and which the players are taking on. I'm not making it any bigger than the fact it's the next game and we have to win. And that's the way I see it.
A lot of people last week when you got announced pointed to the fact that you didn't have that Premier League coaching experience, even though you'd obviously taken the club elsewhere. When you look at Arteta, a few people pointed out he didn't have much, well, he didn't have any, did he? He went with Pep, and he's done all right. So when you're looking at sort of career progression, is he somebody maybe that you look at, somebody took a chance on him and said, we believe the time is right for you to take control over one of the biggest clubs? I don't know, do you?
Everyone starts somewhere. It doesn't matter what.
Everyone starts at one of the biggest clubs, and you two.
I haven't quite started.
No, but your first job in the Premier League.
Yeah. No, I think Mikel is someone who's done an incredible job. He's had time to build the way he wants his team to look. They're very well organised. They're very good in terms of their organisation in every aspect of the game. And he's done a very, very good job there. Like I said, everyone has to start somewhere. I'm really, really looking forward to the game. It's just one of those things that everybody has a different background. Everyone has a different way of getting to somewhere. And you respect everybody in the industry, because it's a difficult industry to be in. Especially as a coach, you're judged on every word, every action, every game. And if you can't deal with that pressure, then you shouldn't be in the job.
I guess when you look at what he has done, and you talked a lot about culture, didn't you, and getting that right, and that energy, and that was what he's done. He's slowly built. Yes, he's had a few, hairy moments where he didn't think he'd carry on. He's been given the time to be able to assemble that over 6 years. That's the sort of project, I guess, you'd like to emulate here?
Yeah, I'd love to be here for 6 years and longer. I'll be here as long as possible, but I'm aware in order for that to happen, I need to win. It's as simple as that. I understand every club has a different project. This word project comes out a lot now in football. But the idea in any project is that every game you play, you're trying to win it. It's as simple as that. So for me, my focus is, yes, I've got ideas about what I want the team to look like in a year's time, 2 years, 3 years' time. But I think I've got enough resources and enough tools with me now to win now. I've made that clear to the players. So, we're going to give it our best shot on Wednesday. The lads trained very, very well this morning. And, I'll make a decision on the team in the next few days. And hopefully we go and attack the game.
Semi-final first leg against Chelsea. We're asking, will winning the Carabao Cup help Arsenal to deliver the Premier League title? So on that, Dara, Pep Guardiola has always said that winning the Carabao Cup really helps build momentum and confidence in other competitions, because this is the first chance to win a proper competition if you're taking away the Community Shield. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's a real feel-good atmosphere around the camp and the squad to get some more, silverware and go to Wembley and see your fans and have 100,000 people in there chanting. So that can really kick on your season. We've seen it in the EFL where teams in League One have won the EFL trophy and promotion, and they've used the trophy win to go on and win the double. So it does. Momentum's a key word in football, as we know. So completely in agreement with Pep, who might disagree with someone who's done it multiple times.
And in terms of Chelsea's side of things, Chelsea are home tonight.
I fancy them tonight.
Well, they're at home tonight, and it's Liam Rosenior's first home game in charge. Would Arsenal prefer to be at home first or second?
I think you want to be home last.
Right.
So, we've done that in the playoffs where we've lost the first leg away. And then you take that to the home game with the atmosphere, the crowd, and that's where you drive over the line and get it done. I think Chelsea win tonight, but Arsenal win the tie overall. Okay. So I think it's going to be a cracking game tonight. A few goals.
In fairness to Arsenal, they've got a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
But in fairness to Chelsea,
who doesn't?
They've got no Moises Caicedo, who's suspended.
Yeah.
He's been their best player this season, I would say, fairly confident.
Yeah.
Speaking to the Chelsea fans, how big a loss is that when you're missing your best player in a real chance to win a trophy?
Yeah, massive. But Chelsea have got a decent-sized squad. They've got some strength and depth in there. I fancy them to win tonight. And I think, Arsenal will have to have a comeback in the second leg.
Yeah, you're seeing there, booked for sarcastically applauding the referee as well.
It drives you mad. You lose players for that.
In terms of winning the trophy, who needs it more? Because I can see the Arsenal side of things is that Arteta, it's constantly a stick to beat him.
Chelsea need it more.
Well, yeah, but Arteta...
Yeah, he hasn't won since the FA Cup, blah, 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 blah.
And he's been there since 2019.
It's Premier League or nothing for Arsenal. Like, League Cup, great, all of that, great. Ask an Arsenal fan, would you take the FA Cup, the League Cup, or a league title? Would you take the Champions League or a league title? You want the league title.
But if winning the League Cup gives momentum to win the league,
that's great.
And that's
fine.
Stop your momentum.
But at the end of the day, if you go and win the league title and you get stuffed in all the cups or you lose all the cup finals, no one's going to remember that. They're only going to remember your name as champions on the Premier League trophy. So for me, that would be my priority. So I think for a senior, a chance to win his first silverware as a young manager and a new manager, it'd be good. And obviously Chelsea won trophies last year. So for them, momentum of winning more trophies when you've got ownership that's obviously having protests and issues, which I think is a bit unfair and unjust when there's trophies being delivered. Is
Rosenior thinking all his Christmas have come at once, that he's joining, he's got a chance to put the League Cup on his CV, joining at the semi-finals? Yeah, it's a great job. Look, as bad as things have been for Chelsea the last 2 months and whatever else, he's on all fronts. He's fighting, for success. So I think that's a cracking game for him. Because as well, the pressure's not really on. It's like your second game and you're playing the best team in England at the moment. So you go and win that tie over the 2 legs, you're a legend. You lose, people go, well, it was expected, it's Arsenal. So, yeah, I think that's going to be a cracker. And then if you get your dream final, whether it's Arsenal, Man City, or Chelsea, Man City, again, it's going to be a great League Cup final. Yeah, it will be. And tonight will be... Arsenal in the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final is tonight at Stamford Bridge. Right, Dara. Now, both of these teams have got a lot of games this season. They're in the semi-finals of a cup. Whoever goes out... Would they have preferred to have gone out in the third round and not have so many games? Because you also missed the day out at Wembley and actually winning the trophy. That's a great question. But my answer to that would be, if they managed to play a lot of the younger players in the squad earlier on in the rounds, then it's been well worth it. If they've played a strong team all the way through and exhausted those players for what comes in the Premier League, then they'd prefer to go out early. I just think it's a great trophy for Premier League teams to get use of their squad. Just depends on who they've used. And for managers, it's often a way of getting a trophy as early on in the season as possible, which Guardiola's done several times. Yeah. You think this game is bigger for Rosenior?
I do. And the League Cup's been dismissed a few times over the years, and I like the fact Pep, it's almost like the Charity Shield, he's brought back credibility to the trophy, saying that's a trophy and it's an important trophy. Liverpool used it and won it to springboard into Champions League.
Ask Newcastle fans what
last year for Newcastle.
Eric Ten Hag at Manchester United.
It's another big trophy, and we've got to be proud of our domestic trophies. Like I've always been proud when Peterborough won a trophy. These are important things that you've got to remember. So I think for Chelsea, I think Arsenal's full focus, and I've always said this from day one, and some Arsenal fans have kind of gone, well, you don't really like Arsenal. Not true. I've loved Arsenal's policy of the younger players over the last 3 or 4 years. I just feel we'll come to that moment now where that man there, Arteta, has got to deliver the Premier League trophy. I think he's a magnificent manager, but he now has to back it up with that Premier League trophy, and it's now or never. Because I think you got Guardiola, who last year had that off year in a rebuild, and the rebuild's nearly done. And Man City, like they showed against Newcastle last night, I've said it all along, I just think they're about to come back to life.
OK. Now, for more on this, let's cross to Chelsea fan Charlie Patrick and Arsenal supporter Nick Caramanlis. Good morning to both of you. I know you'll be looking forward to tonight. I've got a question for both of you. I'll start with you, Charlie, as you're the home team. How important is this for you?
Oh, it's massive. It's the biggest game of our season. Obviously, unlike Arsenal, unfortunately, we're not contending in the Premier League and the Champions League. We're not amongst the favourites, so the domestic cups are our main opportunity to do something. There's been no domestic trophy for Chelsea since the FA Cup under Antonio Conte in 2018. No League Cup since 2015 with Jose Mourinho. So, yeah, this is huge for us, and it's obviously Rosenio's first home game at Stamford Bridge. And there's been a lot of doubters about his appointment as well. So a win tonight would not only be massive for our season, but it'd be huge for him as well in terms of trying to win some of the fans over that were a little bit unsure about the appointment.
What about for Arsenal, Nick?
It's important because it's a cup semi-final. Look, essentially, we could win 2 out the next 3 games and we won a trophy. So, look, is it the most important trophy that we're going for? No, but we're here now, so let's go on and win it. And plus, I think for us, it's also important to keep that momentum going because once you kind of lose that momentum, that could impact you in other competitions.
I'll carry on, Darren.
Yeah, lads, you know, we've got to get this aggressive here, some rivalry between you two. So I'm not sure there's this massive rivalry between Arsenal and Chelsea. So I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to ask the question. Who's had the more successful last 8-9 months as a football club?
Oh, it's Chelsea. It's simple for me because the aim of the game is to win trophies in football, and
Correct.
we've got two in the bag, and Arsenal have none. So, look, if we're being honest from a trophy standpoint, then absolutely. If you're talking about it from a consistency standpoint, league performances, league finishes, then it is Arsenal. But we're all in football. We all support football because we want to see our teams winning trophies. And so, for me, Chelsea have been more successful than Arsenal over the past 8-9 months for that exact reason.
But Nick, you've got 18 more points than Chelsea.
Yeah, give us the response, bud.
We're top of the league. We're top of the Champions League. It's all to come for us. As a neutral, who would you rather be supporting right now? Chelsea or Arsenal?
Liverpool.
Sunderland.
I knew you were going to say that.
We don't switch our colours. That's a good point, though, Charlie. Would you swap your last 9 months for Arsenal's and be top of the league?
It's a tricky one because obviously, look, we haven't won a Premier League title since 2017. However, I'm about the days out as the fans. I was at both the finals last season, the celebration, seeing your team win a trophy. That's for me what it's all about. So no, I wouldn't trade 2 trophies to be top of the league with no guarantees of actually converting that into a trophy at the end of the season. So no, I'd stick with Chelsea without doubt. Spurs
won a trophy last season, and so did Man United. I wouldn't trade for any of them.
No,
well, let's see what you're saying in May.
For Chelsea, it's different.
But Nick, you have got quite a strong argument there. But in terms of winning trophies, that is something that is, as I said in the last hour, that is a stick that you get beaten with a lot, Nick. Didn't mean to make that rhyme.
Look, and Arteta gets beaten with it a lot. I mean, I wouldn't go far as to say that he needs this Carabao Cup. Of course, as Pep's proven himself, as you said earlier, Darren, it's great to get one under your belt early. It's one of those trophies, though, the Carabao Cup, where you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If we win it, it's just the Carabao Cup. If we go out, we're bottlers. So it's kind of one of those where... But yeah, no, I do agree that Arteta does need something under his belt. I still think we're the favourites for the league. Cup competitions can go either way, we know that. But I'm confident we're going to do it.
Charlie, what do you want to see from Rosenior in the short term that you didn't get from Maresca?
I think in this game for Rosenior, like obviously under Maresca, we saw that we were competitive in the big games. You know, there was that sort of tried and tested setup. We wouldn't always win them, but there was that. You know, we were competitive. We got results against Barcelona, PSGs. We've been competitive in those big sides. What I want to see from Rosenior tonight is kind of more of the same. You know, we need to be at a bare minimum competing in that fight, intensity, energy, desire, application, all those things that we saw under Maresca, and then maybe try and get a little bit more as well. I think he's fully aware of the task at hand and what he needs to do. But for me, as a bare minimum, we have to compete and we have to continue the good record that we had in the big games under Maresca with Rosenior. So that's going to be the big task for him. And this, for me, this is a big test for him. This is the biggest game of his career. I know he's managed against PSG in Ligue 1, but in terms of, you know, calibre of game, this is without doubt the biggest of his career. So the pressure's on him as well.
Nick, what do you think about this? It's Rosenior's first home game, in charge of Chelsea. Would you prefer to be up against Rosenior or Maresca a few weeks ago?
I mean, to be honest, it's that big manager bounce, isn't it, that teams usually get. If I'm being honest, and this is not disrespectful to Chelsea, it's not about them. We've proven in the past that we can beat your Chelseas, your Liverpools, we've beaten PSG, we've beat Real Madrid. It's not about the team, it's the occasion I'm worried about. Is that, do we have that big game mentality when the pressure's on? Can we get over the line? Because I've seen it in previous seasons that, you know, that's.
Well, Newcastle the semi-finals last year against Newcastle. Yeah, you were barely in.
We've beaten the big teams,
and that's the stick everyone's beating you with.
Yes,
everyone's beating Arsenal and Arteta with that. They don't want to call you chokers. They don't want to be that impolite. But right now, the biggest chip on your shoulder is every time you get within a sniff of winning something, it evaporates. So I guess go out and win the League Cup. Start with that. Start knocking that chip down a bit, and then that might lead to the league.
Yeah, 100%. That's why this is important in that respect, and it's all about that momentum, as I was saying. And look, like I said, we have beaten big teams in the past, but it's in group games, for example. And when it comes down to the crunch, can we get over the line? Look, this season we have written a lot of wrongs where we've been winning games in the previous seasons. We've been drawing or losing. Hopefully, this is another one we can get over the line.
Yeah.
And it will help them, Charlie. It'll help Arsenal. No Moises Caicedo. How worried are you about that?
I mean, look, it's a big concern. He's one of our best players. Obviously, I would point out in the league game, we had him for about, I don't know, part of the first half, and then he was sent off, and we managed to deal reasonably well without him. Reece James was back in training yesterday. I imagine he will probably go into the midfield alongside Andre Santos, Lorenzo Fernandez, and he's done pretty well in midfield. You know, he was man of the match in the league game at Stamford Bridge. He was very good up against Rodri there in Man City the other week as well. So it's a big blow, but I do think we've got players that can fill in to an extent and do a similar level of job to Caicedo. Obviously, you'd rather have him, but I don't think it's a game-ruining absence for us.
Nick, how impressed have you been the fact that you've been able to deal with your injury problems so well?
Yeah, no, I have been, because we've got the squad, and rightly so. We should have dealt with them. My only concern, the only ever criticism I've ever had about Arteta is his squad rotation and management of these players. As you alluded to earlier, if you're playing the kids going up to the semi-final, then great. We're playing stronger and stronger teams. Obviously, we have got a big squad, so we have to use them. It's not about the kids as much anymore. But, I mean, that second half against Liverpool, we were chasing shadows. They looked tired, they looked dead on their feet, and there's no excuse for that because we have got that squad. Rice, for example, for the first time, just didn't look like he could move. Yeah. So I'm being impressed with the fact that we've been able to cope with the injuries. I feel like we're just looking a little bit jaded at the moment. Yeah. That's my only concern.
Right, OK, well, we better end with some predictions. Charlie, for tonight's game, but also for the aggregate score.
I mean, if we're going to have any chance of going through, I think we have to win tonight, given our record at the Emirates. In general, we haven't beaten Arsenal since 2021 in all competitions, home or away, so we are well overdue one. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Chelsea win tonight, narrow win, but yeah, over the two legs, I hate to say it, but I think Arsenal probably will shade it.
OK, actually, Nick, I'm going to get to you in a moment. Charlie, suddenly something's just come into my mind. In terms of your players who haven't got a squad number and haven't been named in the squad, there's talk that Rosenior's going to talk to them. Would you want to see Disasi or Sterling come back into your squad for the rest of the season?
I'll be honest, probably not. I don't think they're sort of a level of player that we're kind of missing right now. But look, whatever the manager decides to do, sort of have to kind of accept that. But it's not something that I'd be desperately calling for.
Nick, is Charlie putting more pressure on you by saying that he thinks you're going to edge it overall?
No, not at all. I think he's right. I would say tonight, I've got a feeling about a 1-1, but let's get off the fence and say 2-1 to us then.
2-1 to Arsenal, and you going through to the final.
3-2.
3-2, says Dara, to
Chelsea.
Arsenal. Oh, to Chelsea?
Yeah, Arsenal win overall, but Chelsea win 3-2 tonight.
Oh, OK. Well, that'll be well worth watching, which of course it will be. OK, Charlie, Nick, good luck to both of you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
When we look at how the season will be remembered for Arsenal, does it matter if they win the Carabao Cup or not? Or is everything focused on winning either the Premier League or the Champions League for them?
I think if you'd have asked the manager at the start of the season to list in order which trophy he would like and put the most onus on winning, I think it would be the Premier League. And the reason I say that is because they've been so close but not managed to get over that last hurdle. Great opportunity this year to do it. 6 points clear at the top of the league. It's in their hands again. But winning the Carabao Cup after getting beat in the semi-finals last season by Newcastle, look, if they can put a bit of silverware in March in that cabinet, that might give Mikel Arteta and his Arsenal team the final kick they need to go and do what they haven't done since Arsene Wenger was there, which is win the Premier League. So, yeah, I think it's a real positive if they were to go and win it. Would it have been the first one that you wanted to win at the start of the season? Probably not. But what a great opportunity to have a day out. But they've got to overcome Chelsea first, which is never easy.
I guess if it's one of those where if they get to Wembley and they win it and they have those celebrations on the pitch, that Mikel Arteta's message can be, think how great this will feel if it's actually the Premier League.
Totally agree with you. But from a player's perspective, if I put that hat on, it would give them huge confidence going into what we always know is a really tough part of the season towards the end of the Premier League. So they're in a great position, first of all in the league, but they'll want to put in a good performance. They'll want to get a positive result to take into the second leg. But so will Chelsea. The EFL Cup is a great cup, the League Cup, for any team. You saw what it did for Newcastle last season. It got them into the Champions League by winning it. So, look, it's a great opportunity for either team to pick up some silverware.
Is it a case that belief, which we always talk about, a group of players, once you've done something, you know you can do it again, that will also extend to the fans, and that at times it can be a little bit nervy, and that some supporters in their mind have, well, as you just said, we were a few points clear a couple of years ago, and whereas if you've got one trophy, there's that belief of, OK, this is a group of winners that we feel can see us over the line.
Yes, I think probably for the management and the coaching team, it probably relieves a bit of pressure as well, because they have been so close. Look, the Premier League, we know, is extremely difficult to win. The level of consistency needed to win the Premier League, and that's why everybody loves it so much, because the team at the bottom can beat the team at the top. You don't see that domestically in every league in Europe. So, look, he will be using this, no doubt, as a motivational tool, first of all, to get to Wembley in a cup competition with 40,000 Arsenal fans there for a day out, and if they can get over the line, it will set them up wonderfully for finishing the season strong in the Premier League.
Well, what about their opponents who do have plenty of recent experience of winning trophies? Chelsea, Rosenior has told his players he trusts them all and is giving them all a clean slate. In return, he's demanding total commitment to the cause from all of them.
It's different for each individual. I think I have a high set of values for the group within that, where regardless of tactics or technique or systems, if you're not at your maximum, you're not being respectful. If you don't give everything, you're not being respectful to yourself, to your teammates, to the supporters who pay your wages. And normally, if you max out and give 100% in life, good things happen. So that's my demand. My demands are very simple. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't hide from the ball and give 100%. It's very, very simple. Normally, the rest takes care of itself with all of the details within that.
Does every player have a chance?
Every player has a chance. Who would have said that me from Wandsworth, with the playing career that I've had and the CV that I've had, ends up as head coach at Chelsea? You have to give people a chance. Otherwise, what's the point? You know, everyone has a dream. But to realise your dream and to realise your potential, you have to max out in terms of your work ethic.
One player who'll be hoping to impress Rosenior is Benoit Badiashile. The French centre-back is fit again after a series of injuries.
Are you excited?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm excited.
What does that, mean for you as a player? Perhaps not you, but some of the other players. Is it a fresh start?
Yeah, can say this, I think. But let's not forget that Maresca was a good coach as well. So yeah, it's really good to have the new coach with us, and we'll try to do our best.
Let's talk about your start of the season personally. Has that been frustrating, especially the early part because of injuries?
Yeah, I had a lot of injury, but yeah, it's the past now. I'll try to stay fit until the end of the season. That's it.
Are they kind of managing your playing time?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I need to be careful and manage my time.
Is there an injection of something when a new manager takes over in those first few training sessions?
Yes, the players that weren't in the team, like Liam has said there, everyone is starting from the same point. Those players will definitely have more of a smile on their face. They'll think there's now an opportunity to impress the new coach coming in, because they'll want to be picked when he's selecting a starting 11 or an 18 or a 20-man squad. But it shouldn't be that way, but it is. Unfortunately, having been through it as a player many times, Liam, will have gone in there, and listening to him speak, his messages are clear, his messages are simple, his expectations from his group of players. There's not one player that could watch that and not know what their manager expects from them. I think, that could be, they talk about simplicity being genius. That might be one of the ways in which he's managed to pass subliminal messages onto his players.
I also think when a new manager comes in, those attacking midfield positions are really interesting, because we all like watching different things, don't we? And he might want different things. So for one manager who prefers Garnacho, you feel there'd be another who would prefer Pedro Neto, someone else who might prefer Jamie Gittins, for example, that they have so many options, and probably Cole Palmer aside, not quite sure what the best combination is, and that's one of the big things for him to work out.
It is, and what he'll be doing is he'll spend a lot of time on the training pitch watching them, but he'll also spend a huge amount of time, and not sure how many people know this, after training, everything's filmed. So he and his coaches will sit for training, and he'll find an hour, he'll find 2 hours to evaluate his training session, evaluate his players. So he's not just judging them on what he's seen with his eyes, he'll be judging them again through the camera, because Chelsea is such a big football club. They'll have all that technology. He'll have all the physical output, the physical data. He'll know if his players are maxing out. He'll know if they're not. And listening to him there has to be a technical and tactical side to the game. But it sounds to me as if he's asking his players to give 100% every time they go onto the pitch. He's got some exceptional attacking players to pick from. What he needs to do now alongside his coaching staff is work out what is the best combination of players at the top of the pitch to give him the best opportunity of winning games.
Do you think also that there is a mentality to question a little bit with him, particularly discipline-wise? They keep getting players sent off, that because it's a young squad without that John Terry, Frank Lampard figure, that's something he needs to try and get into them, is a bit of leadership, a bit of game management at times. That is big in making this team better.
Yeah, I think you want your players to play on the edge, but you don't want them to go over, and therefore you don't want them to get sent off. You don't want to be without 3 or 4 of your best players in the squad because they've made a stupid decision and got sent off. Liam will get to know his players on a personal level. Can already see that, and he needs to understand what it is they're playing for, who it is they're playing for, and getting to know them. I saw a clip in the Charlton game at the weekend, and he was sat on the bench with his players having a conversation. Those things might seem normal, but in football that at times isn't normal. They had a smile on their face. He needs to be approachable, but he also needs to know, and the players need to know, that he's got an air of authority because he's the decision maker. But if you do it day in, day out, session in, session out, you'll get an opportunity to play. And when you do, he'll give you clear instructions, go and undertake those instructions on the pitch. But as you say, they are a young squad, extremely talented. He will need leaders within the group to step up. He might sign 1 or 2 in the January window, you don't know. But I'm excited to see a young British coach getting an opportunity.
It was a cracking game earlier.